everyone, I'm Holly and I am the maker here at Missouri River Soap. In this video today I'm making sea salt soaps. I'm going to be using a fragrance. It's a very oceany type fragrance with a little bit of cardamom, a little bit of orange. It's just a really beautiful fragrance with some amber and light musk. So I have everything pretty much prepared here. I have my salt, coconut milk, fragrance oil, my oil blend. I have my castor oil in here, and then this is the coconut oil and butters. I use Kokum and Shea, and I'm going to be soaping it mostly room temperature. Sometimes it's best to be just a hint warmer with the sea salt soaps because it does have a hard oil content that is very high. While this is not a tutorial, you can find the recipe that I am using down below. Sea salt soaps are a very hard spa-like soap bar. It has a high content of coconut because it can lather in the presence of salt. There's some legends about people that bathe, fishermen that bathed on the ocean many years ago. But coconut oil is a very cleansing oil, so we bring the super fat up to 20%. This type of soap is not for everybody. It is going to be more of an exfoliating type bar of soap. It has a just real creamy, dense lather. Some people, it's their favorite soap ever because it's just so hard. It never gets mushy in the presence of excess water, etc. But some people do not like them at all, and that's a-okay. It's just different. It's a different kind of soap. So my oils are 79 degrees. And my lye solution here is 75 degrees. Coconut is a 75 degree or 76 degree melt point. I'm going to add in, I need to get my stick blender out. I'm going to add in the coconut milk and get that blended in down into the oils. Coconut milk is at room temperature today because I just opened a can of my favorite coconut milk ever. It's this native forest organic coconut milk, unsweetened, simple. All it is organic coconut and water. If I had not used all of it from a previous soap making day, then I would reheat it in the microwave so it didn't shock this very high percentage of hard oils. Let's add in the lye solution. There's a general absence of lye lint today because it cooled very slowly today. It's a lot nicer. My studio's warmer. My fragrance oil is going to go in, and this is my first time using this particular fragrance oil in soap. Supposedly it works very well. No acceleration, no discoloration. Now, in my opinion, sea salt soaps can be tricky. You have to soap warm enough because of the hard oils, but also not so hot that it just comes together way too quickly and accelerates. But if you soap too cool to the point where maybe you'll get a false trace, that's no good. I've had sea salt soaps separate more readily on me than a regular batch. They can be a little tricky. But we like them, so we make them anyway. I'm putting in just some plain sea salt. I use pink salt a lot, but I'm just using the plain because I want it just to be a very whitish bar. And the salt that I use is the same amount as my oils. So this batch is 60 ounces of oil and I'm using 60 ounces of salt. Just use my stick blender to kind of stir it around just because it's a very solid stirring contraption. So the next part is to make sure that it is together enough that it's not going to drop the salt. The salt is going to stay suspended. It's looking pretty good so far. I feel quite a bit of salt at the bottom. Probably by the time I clean off my stick blender, it'll be ready to pour. It seems to be coming together rather quickly. I like to pour it when it is of the texture of like cream of wheat. So I'm actually going to pour it into here because I find this one a little bit easier to manage, but I need to move right along here. Bring in my silicone. I love these little molds from Amazon. And I find just kind of giving it a little swirly as I pour helps me to get the salt soaps in evenly because they are thick. Now the point of having a tray under the silicone is that we want to smack it down. And so we want to be able to grab these molds. They're so flimsy on their own until the soap solidifies a bit that you can't really get them evened out without having this tray underneath. This is just a regular I think it's like a cafeteria tray almost, but it does fit in a full sheet pan size, like in the over there, my curing rack. It doesn't fit the best, but that could just be my particular one. And you can see it kind of gets wrinkly. The first one is looking pretty good here, and then they just get more wrinkly as they go. I would say that from the get-go, this one is just a little bit thicker than I would prefer. It is still very workable, so I'm not too concerned about it. And these are kind of even they're a very luxurious spa type soap, you know, like people love dipping in the ocean and the salt and everything. They're also rustic from the salt, so it's alright if they don't have the smoothest tops ever. I'd like to get into this guy. I can't really get there. I am having to hustle a little bit more than I would a regular batch, say if it was my grapefruit orange or rosemary mint. I'm almost done with these main ones, and then I take the remainder and put them in a cute little paw mold for samples. Alright, so here we have my two trays. I find it easiest just to make two little silicone molds at a time. These are available on Amazon. You can find this info in the description box of the video. These are my little paw molds, also from Amazon. And this is just going to be a little bit more tedious. What I'm going to do is invert another one of my trays over the top of this tray, and I'm going to cover it with towels. It should try to push through a gel, but it's alright if it doesn't. I don't find that it makes a big difference in the sea salt soaps. They're just so creamy, so white, so hard from the salt and the coconut. And so I don't worry about it a whole lot, but I do try to push them through. You can always set them on a heating pad and cover that with something that the heat can't escape. I usually will set like a, back in the olden days, I actually still have quite a bit of soap in this one. Back in the olden days, I had one of those like under the bed shoe tubs, and so they were, maybe it's just an under the bed, maybe not a shoe tub, but just an under the bed situation. And that works really nice for these type of molds, that you can put one or two in them and then set that on top of a heating pad and cover with towels. Of course, be safe, follow safety directions for your heating pad, and don't leave things unsupervised, etc. I never would leave them on the heating pad for long, just enough to heat it up, and then just let the heat hold. Alright, so I will be back in a couple of days to unmold these soaps. It is time to unmold our sea salt soaps, and they turned out beautifully. Always love how they look. And so, of course, this part is very simple. We're just going to peel them out. Every now and again, they don't peel the absolute best. I usually have to soak these molds so that they're easy to clean. But here we have one, sea salt soap bar. It smells so beautiful and fresh. I'm quite pleased with this batch. And so we're just going to let these sit on the curing rack for 4 to 6 weeks before I wrap them up and prepare them for sale. So I've made my Sunny Beaches soap. You can see that in the background. And I did mix my fragrance a little bit with this salt flats, and it smells amazing. So the bumpy tops I think are actually really pretty. And there's really, oh no, that's just rustic and really pretty, I think. I always will prefer the smooth tops. I'm not even sure where I have one of those. Right here. This is, I think this is about as close as it gets. Maybe this one. And see how they're fairly smooth on top, but having a little dollopy texture on the top is always nice. So I'm just going to keep unmolding these soaps. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed the video. Be sure to check out the video description below. You can find links to our social media sites. You can go to our website, moriversoap.com, to buy products and sign up for our newsletter if you're looking, or email, I guess, if you're looking for a particular product. I send out emails when releases go live. And of course, there'll be more information about this batch itself. Thank you for watching. Bye.